following TBT interview with Big Rich by James Irvine and Matt Burns was pre-recorded via the power of the internet, which can cause some audio difficulties to appear, which we do apologise for. Audio discretion is advised with this interview. We hope you enjoy. Thank you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, dudes and dudettes. I'm Matt Burns, and with me is my usual, ever-lovable co-host. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Really?
What?
Really?
What?
That is the world's worst introduction ever, you massive fucking penis.
How is it the worst introduction?
It's so lame and tame. That's like, look at this, it's a little kitten.
Would
What,
you like
what
to...
the fuck is that? If you had two sandbags sitting either side of you, you'd look like a giant cock.
Forget it. I'll do it. It is none other than James Irvine.
Yes, it's James. Oh my God, thank you for the introduction. You are so welcome, Matt Burns.
Anyway, and on this episode of TBT Interviews, we have our guest, which is none other than Big Rich.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Good afternoon, good evening, good night, and good morning, and yes.
I think you've been watching too much of the Truman Show.
Yeah, I got confused. I think it's Matt Burns' awkwardness rubbing off on me.
Oh.
No comments. No comments.
Giggity, giggity, giggity.
Oh, dear.
Right. As we already know, this is the second time we've actually interviewed you on The Burning Truth.
It is indeed, sir.
So, just in case if anybody turns around and says, well, who's Big Rich? We've got the first one interview for you to check out, but this time round it's a little bit different. We're going to be going through some different stuff, especially with what's been going on quite recently.
We are indeed, sir.
That it is. So, with everything that's been currently going on with the whole thing with wrestling currently around the world,
yeah,
how have you been?
Bored, for one thing.
Better than that introduction by any chance?
A bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think you're still sour on it.
Yes.
Right, okay, I apologise.
No, I've just been bored, really. I think I didn't realise how much wrestling was connected to my life until it all stopped.
Yeah.
Because for me, it was more than wrestling. It was socialising with friends. It was a way to just relax. You know what I mean? I don't know how to describe it. It was a way to just take a day and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I think what I forgot towards the end was how much I enjoyed not just the wrestling, the in-ring wrestling and seeing like my friends wrestle, but wrestling as a whole, the whole camaraderie.
Yeah.
Sitting there, laughing, joking, talking about old blooming 70s, 80s cartoons with you, and a certain other person. And next thing you know, 45 minutes have gone by and we're like, what the hell? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, we could easily do that again.
Yeah. That is what I'm so looking forward to with like the restart of wrestling is the fun you have, not just the wrestling, but as in the whole day of getting ready for the show, the road trips, the laughs, the jokes, and like the show setup. And like I said, the whole thing to me is just, wow, it's what I've missed the most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is something that I'm pretty sure that all of us can agree with. Potentially.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I've not had that experience yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. But with yourself, it's more or less, it's one of them. It's like for yourself, Irvine. It's like you got that anticipation of the build up to it the first time, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like going to be having your first wank.
Oh my God.
And there's the decorum gone.
Yeah.
It's just going to be all it is. It's just going to be giggity, giggity.
Oh God.
That was the climax.
I'll never forget my first match.
Oh.
And I remember, this is maybe a couple of weeks before, and I was talking to certain wrestlers, and one in particular, and I always mention his name, Damo Scorpio.
Yes.
He came to me, and he said, and we were talking, and I was saying about how nervous I felt about stepping through the curtain, and how I was shaking. And he gave me the best advice, and I still follow that advice to this day. He said, stand there, shake, rattle, whatever. And the second before you step out, take a deep breath and just go for it.
Yeah.
And that's what I've done ever since. I still do it to this day. I mean, I laugh, I joke before I go out. But the second I've got to go through that curtain, it's a deep breath and it's straight out.
I've asked this question to quite a lot of people, actually. What are their routines? Have they got a routine before they go out? And obviously you've got that.
Yeah.
Which actually makes quite a lot of sense to me.
Mm.
I mean, my other routine is, I like to just sit, like, as you're getting changed, I like to sit and relax, have a laugh. And, you get talking to the roster, and then you get talking to whatever talent's been brought in.
Mm-hmm.
And I love, and like small, when you sit there and you got the banter going, you get like the small stories of, when I was wrestling for this promotion, we had a laugh doing this. And I like hearing the funny stories as well. I like the banter before going out.
Yeah.
It's not just the banter before going out, it's when you come back and then throughout the whole evening or maybe the whole day, it's just that banter that, right, this is cool, right? I'm rocking and rolling, ready to go now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's a good one. And seeing as you mentioned a few times on the topic, you mentioned stories or anything. Is there any that you want to care to share? Any that have been told to yourself that you're able to?
Oh well, you know this story because your friend told it to me.
Oh,
yes.
I'm just wondering which one.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention any names, right?
Wasn't me.
No, it wasn't you. But I remember being at a wrestling show, and a certain person was saying how they'd wrestled for another promotion, and a certain wrestler, they were wrestling on a show, and all of a sudden, through the match, right, got hit with a European uppercut and hit the deck, and said, "Go home." And I was like, "You are?" I was, in hysterics. I know it might not. The way I describe it, it's not very funny, but it's the way Kyle's friend told it to me, right?
Kyle, my cousin.
Yeah. Oh God, mate, I was laughing my blooming socks off.
Mm.
Yeah.
For me, you've heard the fact that he said he went home. For me, when I first heard it, and I've actually seen it, I don't think it was more or less of him saying, "Let's go home." It was more or less. He was like he couldn't even move.
From a European uppercut.
Running European uppercut.
Ouch.
Took the bump, which looked fine.
Yeah.
The pinfall comes in, as in no big splash or anything straight after, just a straight pin. No, because the man's down. Go for the pin. 1, 2, and you think, kick out. 3? Was that meant to happen?
Yeah. I still couldn't believe it when I was told the story. I just,
From a European uppercut.
A running one, yeah, in the corner.
Like I say, that's what I got told. When the day it was told to me, it was a hell of a lot more funnier than the way I've just described it.
Oh, definitely.
It was
definitely.
just, it's one of those moments where it's involved in like a conversation, but yet when that person says it, you just stop what you're doing, you turn and look, and you're like, what the hell?
Did he just...
many moments like that, so I get where you're coming from.
No, it was one of them...
My face, right, was like, one of those WTF moments.
Yeah.
Like, eyes wide open, looking like, eh? That was me that day. I got told the story.
It's just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. And we have got one more story that I can think of for yourself.
Oh, excuse me.
And it involves you assisting somebody.
Assisting somebody?
Yes.
I don't like the sound of that.
All I'll say to you is, they want you to learn a little bit of Spanish.
Oh, no.
Oh, really? A little bit of Espanol, eh?
Oh.
What he's on about.
All I'll say is,
yeah.
I'm lucky. I was one of the lucky few who actually knows just enough of the language. Just to know enough of the language to know exactly what word was being said.
You're never going to let me forget that night, are you?
I won't, because it was so funny.
Well, I know it was.
Us pair were laughing. I couldn't stop.
Bear in mind, when he said it, the room's quiet, right? And there's me at the back of the room. I'm not even on this particular show, right? I'm at the back of the room, right? Trying to hide away.
You're hiding away. I'm hyperventilating from laughing.
Yeah. We are screaming with laughter because we know what the particular person is saying. And would you like to take it from there, Mr. Burns?
Oh. I don't even think I could even do the word justice.
I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it on this interview.
You don't actually. I'm just trying to think. All we'll say is, the wrestler was under a mask, known as Al Talon.
His manager, who was also under a mask.
Yes.
Who I think is one of the, right, and I'll say this, and I hope he's listening to this. He knows who he is, right? He is one of the best wrestling brains, right, I have ever seen in this wrestling business since I started.
Yes.
The man is underutilized massively.
Yes.
Right.
This is going to pickle Mr. Irvine's brain.
Yeah.
Is the fact
you've already pickled me, mate.
No. The fact is, both of us have already interviewed one of them.
Yes.
But the other one's been interviewed by me individually as well.
Would this have anything to do with the Dosser King? Why do I get the feeling that this is Charles Kelsey coming back to haunt me again?
It is.
Oh, for God's sake. That man cannot leave me alone.
Oh, no.
It's bad enough. Right. It's bad enough that he's warming my title for me. You know, for fuck's sake, man.
All I'll say is, sorry for pulling the curtain back a little bit, but it's got to be done. All I'll just say is, he was basically coming out, and Kelsey was saying this, Al Talon was saying this word with such ruthless vigor, proper, as loud as Kelsey is.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
and the crowd are just thinking, they're sitting there, paused, wondering if he's just saying, "Oh, shut up."
But he's not.
Oh, he's not. Oh, his parent in the back. His parent at the back of the room, laughing.
Oh dear. Bear in mind, at this point, right, I'd already, spoken to Mr. Burns about what Kelsey was saying, right? So, like I said before, you imagine the entire room, right, is looking at El Talon going, what the hell's he saying? And me and Mr. Burns at the back of the room laughing. And I am crying to the point where I can't see properly. And that character just had me hooked. I swear to God.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
I'll tell you something. He made that character.
Oh, definitely.
You could not put that mask on anybody else.
No, genuinely.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that one, genuinely. And he's probably going to be a little bit upset because we're praising him.
Yeah.
Screw that guy. Screw that guy. I want to know what he was saying.
No, well, I shall let Mr. Burns tell you.
To put it briefly, to explain it.
Stop stalling.
You might as well just say it short.
I'll just say it as, see you next Tuesday.
Ah, right. Cunt.
Oh, God.
But in Spanish.
Yeah, in Spanish, at the top of his voice, to the entire room, calling everybody that particular word.
To their face.
That sounds like Kelsey, though, right?
Right. Oh, no. To their face, and people are oblivious. And as much as we know it's not a nice word, but it was just out of left field. What made even worse is the fact that you sort of give me a heads up, but I was not prepared for that.
Yeah. And like
can you tell me what this word is? I've already said it in English, so you may as well give it me in Spanish. Would you kindly,
please?
Oh, do I have to?
Please. Yes.
Yeah, all right. Well, the way you say it is coño.
Coño.
Yeah, but our beloved Mr. El Talon was, you imagine, he's in the middle of the ring with his manager, and this word is being said out across the entire room, and me and Mr. Burns are at the back, like laughing. Like I say, I'm crying to the point where I can't see properly. I'm almost on the floor, rolling around the floor. Right? It is that. The way we describe it, we're making it sound funny, but you had to be there. It was just, and his manager going. It was almost like a Freddie Blassie and the Iron Sheik moment, where Freddie Blassie's like, you know what I mean? His manager, right underneath that, he goes, yes, and he's doing, it was one of those gimmicks where I loved it.
Yeah.
You know, I loved it. And like I say, if it had been anybody else, it wouldn't have worked.
No, it wouldn't have worked. It really wouldn't have.
Fair enough. Me and Charles Kelsey have had our disagreements in the past. So much so, he's kicked my ass more than once. Right?
Don't forget a certain belt hit.
Oh God, yes. I think I've still got the dent in the back of my head.
I think the belt still feels it as well.
Yeah. With its Gorilla Glue.
I was going to say that. I have to be held together with Gorilla Glue. But I will tell you guys now, I have so much respect for that man. It is unbelievable.
Mm.
When I first started, right, and I thought I was going nowhere, right, he went to bat for me, right, and I will always be grateful. Look, I'm tearing up now, but I will always be grateful for that man and Mr. Burns for going to bat for me when nobody else would. Right, I was an unknown. Right, I don't think people particularly helped me very much anyway. But there again, I couldn't give a rat's ass.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't give a fuck. Who cares?
Yeah, but those two guys went to bat for me, and I will always be eternally grateful to the both of them for giving me what I've got now.
Oh, that's actually quite nice.
No, it's just it's a certain situation that it sort of developed in. It was one of them. It was just it was just not on. And on top of that, I believe we've covered this on the Burning Truth many times on past interviews.
Why do I get the feeling it's a particular subject that really winds me up?
No, it's almost like it was almost like it is a wind up topic. It's just certain people thought they could gatekeep wrestling, and it's like it shouldn't be gatekept. Wrestling is for everyone, if I'm not mistaken.
Gatekept also is just for the certain individuals that fit the mold.
Sort of, and they won't go anywhere. They haven't got the heart for it, and yet Big Rich more than proved he had the heart for it more than enough times, and can clearly draw a crowd.
Oh, fucking! You know what? Fuck 'em, Ganyos.
I
love it.
Yeah.
I love
We've started something now.
Yeah, but the point being is speaking of dedicated fans,
yeah,
I believe you actually you normally get a few of them at certain shows, certain rare individuals.
Oh dear. Well, I tell you. Well, do you want to explain this?
No, I'll let you.
Yeah. No. No. Mr. Burns has said enough. I really want to hear it from you.
All right. Well, I wrestle for a company called FCW.
Yeah.
And these are the guys who gave me my big break. You know what I mean? I started with a company called AWW, which I loved it there. But as you do, you move on.
Yeah.
So I moved on to FCW when they said, well, basically they gave me an opportunity, and I decided to grab it. And I've met some of the best people you could ever want to meet in professional wrestling there, and the fans. One in particular, right, who I believe you both may have seen on NXT UK.
Pretty much.
Right.
Made her debut this week.
Yes. Right.
You got fangirl.
Well, I'll tell you a bit more. I remember once, I don't know what match it was, and I could hear somebody screaming my name, like a fan screaming my name, and I didn't think anything of it. Of course, the show finishes, so I get introduced to certain members of the NXT UK roster and all that, and I get introduced to a certain Millie McKenzie. So I get introduced to her and her tag team partner,
Charlie Evans.
Charlie Evans, the Medusa Complex.
Yep.
I still say one of the best female tag teams that there is today.
Yeah.
I get introduced to the both of them, and me being me, I'm like, I mean, Mr. Burns has seen me wrestle. I'm not exactly what you'd call the fastest wrestler out there. You know what I mean? You know, I don't flip flop and fly all over the place. But genuine fans, and I'm thinking, oh, great, and I thought it was just going to be a one show thing, and you know, well, over the years, it's developed to. It's not just her, or it's not just. What should I say? It's not just Millie McKenzie and Charlie Evans. It's grown to the big O, Amari.
Yeah.
It's grown to not. It's grown to members of the NXT UK roster that come to the shows. It's grown to members of Fight Club Pro.
Also, members of AEW.
Oh, yes, I wasn't going to mention that one, but yes, because I mean, I didn't want to say anything and sound too big-headed, but yes, members of the AEW roster as well. At the back of the room,
big ad.
Yes, screaming my name, and I'm like, where's all this come from? And to the point where the one day you know how everybody like wrestling fans, they go around like the famous people and all, can I have your autograph, this, that, and whatnot. And I'm stood there talking to who was it now? I think I was talking to RC Chaos. Now there's another wrestler I want to talk about, but I'll talk about him in a minute. I think I was talking to him, and all of a sudden I get tapped on the shoulder. I turn round. It is Trent Seven and Orange Cassidy, right? Or Trent Seven mostly asking me, "Excuse me, do you mind if I have a picture with you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." And then he calls over Orange Cassidy. Of course, at heart, I'm still a big wrestling fan. So it was like I was there, like one of those fangirl moments where I got like my hands next to my head going, "Ah!" You know what I mean?
Let me guess. It's like, don't mark out, don't mark out, don't mark out.
Yeah, it was like one of them. I'm like, oh shit. You know, it's like one of those real oh shit moments. And it was like, the thing is that I've always, and Mr. Burns will back me up on this, I've always been one of these ones where, you know, I'm nobody special. I'm just me.
Humble.
Yeah,
very
I'm just me.
down to
I don't want to be a big head, if you know what I mean. I don't want to be that wrestler who, you know, won't take time to just sit down and talk to anybody. You know, I was just like, I'm just me. You know, I don't pretend to be anything that I'm not. You know, that's all I ever wanted to be, was just be me in wrestling. That's it, full stop.
With Rich, it's almost like you've seen the infamous adverts, the Ron Seal adverts. You know, does exactly what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
I'm not being funny like, but I'm not reading the bottom.
Oh no, with Big Rich, it's literally the old adage saying, "Oh, what you see is what you get." It is 100% him. It is nothing added. You know, it's pure him, purely him.
Yeah. So when these guys came to me asking for my photograph, I'm like I say, oh shit. And to me, that means something to me, because it's like, I don't know how to put it into words. It's like, you know, like, I mean, I know I'm appreciated, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, you know, and you know that's what FCW gave me, is the opportunity to really be around these people. And don't get me wrong, I'm grateful to all the promotions that have given me an opportunity. But FCW are the ones that gave me my big break, and to them, I will always be like with Kelsey and Mr. Burns. I will always be grateful to them for believing in me when nobody else would. That's my take on that.
All I can hear now is Matt Burns' head just going whoosh. I do believe if he goes to the toilet now, he won't be able to make it through the door.
His head will be that big, he'll get stuck in the door frame.
Yeah,
no, It's nothing like that. It's the funny thing about it is, as much as I can turn around and say, yeah, I helped him and everything. It's like, no, the real thing is because one, it was the right thing to do, and two, nobody should ever be restricted or held back at any point. They should be able to be themselves and do something that they thoroughly enjoy. And with yourself, that stands out in droves, in volumes, and the fact that you've got people constantly always being there in full support of you. Always.
It should stand for itself, though, really, because at the end of the day, Matt Burns and Kelsey didn't help you. They didn't. They weren't the ones wrestling. It was you that was wrestling. Yeah. You as yourself that was wrestling. So you should take a lot of credit for that yourself, really.
Bingo.
I know. I don't want to.
No.
I don't want to have.
Take it. Take it.
No, there's being modest. There's being modest, and the thing is, I've always said, regardless of it, anyone could turn around and say, "Oh, it could have been because we pushed it." No, all we did was just give a little nudge, and you're the one who walked to the door. You're the one who took the steps. You're the one who literally started knocking down barriers.
I hope that the one thing I hope people can relate to is the fact that, yes, I'm big. I'm not the best looking, right? But I'll tell you now, I am who I am, right? And I've said this on, I've done videos like saying like about trying to help, like motivational videos where if people aren't feeling too good or they don't quite feel like they look a certain way, I'm sorry, but bullshit, right? You need to be who you are.
Yeah.
You need to be you. Don't let anybody else try and put you down. That's in wrestling. That's in life. You've got to. You've got to look at it as right. I'm me. I'm damn good. Right. Let's kick that door off and let's show people what Z person is about.
Yeah.
And I hope that I can, everything I do, or people see me, they say, well, there's a big guy who's happy with the way he is, right? I could be like that. I hope I can be that sort of an example.
But I can vouch for that because when I train, there is actually a big guy who, I tell you now, he's a big guy, and damn, that man can super kick.
Yeah.
Oh, God, he can strike. He's like the Daniel Bryan of big guys. He's so good, but, he should look at wrestlers such as yourself and just think, you know what, actually, you're right. Because he does suffer with confidence issues.
Yeah.
But he's such a nice guy.
I used to be the same. I mean, I've never said I think I might have mentioned this to Mr. Burns and only certain friends and family now, but sometimes, right, I have actually sat there and cried my eyes out thinking, what's the point, right? When this is when I thought about quitting wrestling completely because I felt that bad. Because I thought, what's the point? Nobody cares. Blah blah blah. And I sat there, and I must have sat there for 2 hours, cried my eyes out, and then, right, it's people like my mother. Bless her. She goes, "Would you stop crying, you big wet lettuce?"
Mothers have a way with words.
Yeah, she's like, for the love of God, would you just pull your head out of your backside, right? You are big rich. You are you. End of. If nobody likes it, they can go and take a running jump off an effing cliff.
Exactly. Yeah. Ganyos.
And I'm like, whoa. And then other people have basically said the same thing. and it got my confidence going again.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm not exactly the most active wrestler because I do have a day job.
Yeah.
But when I am in wrestling mode, right, it's not just the in-ring competition I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
I like to get out on the streets, do the postering, the flyering. Where I started in wrestling, I mean, that's how I started wrestling. Is you'll laugh your blooming head off the way I started wrestling. But I started basically doing the merchandising. And then how I actually got into wrestling in the first place was many years ago. A friend of mine who's a wrestler, he's also a graphic designer and all that,
Mm-hmm.
is Captain Cutlass. He asked me to wrestle in 2011, and I said no. Because back then I thought, nah, I'm not going to wrestle, you know. Anyway, fast forward a few more years, he asked me again, and I was like, oh, for God's sake. So I thought, right, I'll go and I'll try it. Well, at the time, the only wrestling school I knew was the one he was at, which was AWW. So I went, and I thought, great. I'm not going to enjoy this because like at the time I didn't like physical activity at all. I mean, back then the only thing I was good at doing was sitting in a chair watching the TV and eating a cheeseburger. But I went, I tried to take a few bumps, right? Rattled my brain completely, right? But I got hooked, and then I trained my ass off, and then unfortunately I did have a couple of injuries which set me back a while. I dislocated my knee.
Ow.
Yeah. And then I broke my collarbone.
Oof.
Double ow.
Which was a bit of a bummer for me because, a week later, I was meant to go to another wrestling school, and that was Academy Pro Wrestling, to their training, to train with them. So I turned up, like I said, a week later for this new training session with my arm in a sling. And the promoter at the time was like, "What have you done?" And I told him, and I said, "Look, I can only apologise." I said, "It's one I didn't set out to do this." And he said, "Oh, don't worry about it." But I sat there and I watched and I learned, and it was thanks to going to that first session, I met people like Demo Scorpio, Eddie Cobain as well, the man, hashtag shave my poodle. Mr. Jamie Gilbert as well.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and all that, and Sugar Jimmy Voice.
Yeah, genuinely, it's a good crowd, especially with it. The weird thing about it, we've actually interviewed the the runner of Academy Pro Wrestling, which would be none other than Luke Basham.
Yeah, Mr. Basham himself.
Yeah, and it's a good set. One thing I noticed that I thought it best not interrupt you because you seem like you're in the flow of things, and I'm just going to pull it back to a bit of a topic that you mentioned.
Yeah.
You mentioned the fact that you don't just do it just for the wrestling.
No.
Now, this I can 100% wholeheartedly vouch for on this, because as I know, from time to time you'll get the odd person who'll turn around and say, "Well, he doesn't put, he doesn't do too much. He doesn't do a lot." With Big Rich, he does more than what you think.
But people don't know, do they?
And that they don't know. And it's small little details, the little things that, it's not just a wrestler, but also a promoter as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because like yourself, you mentioned, you did the merch, buy his merch sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
not biting.
What?
Not biting. It's too premature. That one is, Mr. Burns.
I know you're not biting. That's why I just did it the way I did it. But the point being is, when it comes down to it, it wasn't just the merch that you do. It's the little things like when it comes to advertising, like posters, leafleting, and everything.
Yeah.
You know, if a promoter just literally just asks you, you know, it's in your area.
Yeah.
First one to volunteer.
Hey,
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, if I'm free, I'm there. Because I do believe in putting in the footwork.
And you do put the footwork in. Believe me when I say this. I believe we've done posters and flyering and in heavy rain and everything.
Yes. That was for your debut show, I think it was.
I think it was the debut show and some of the second one as well.
Yeah.
It should be 0 Hour and Sugar Rush.
Yeah. Spent one Saturday, went all over the place. Flying, you know, posted. Bear in mind, a lot of people had promised, oh yeah, we'll come and help. But when it comes down to the brass tacks, they haven't got the scope to turn around and say, oh, sorry, I can't make it. You know, they'll just, not turn up.
Or in some cases, a certain situation could actually happen or pop up. But for yourself, whenever you've said you're going to be there, you've done it, you know, without fail. And believe me, and this is the thing, the man, you know, with Big Rich, he's put himself out there where if he is doing this, it's going to, you know, he's probably, you know, he can end up, you know, just in a situation where he's like, you know, I need to do something first, but I've made a promise to do this. He stuck by his promise and made sure to cover his promise. And which is why, at the same time, people are more than likely to go, you know, defend you to the fences, defend you to the hilt. Because the one thing I will say is, you've always given more of yourself to wrestling than most do. Genuinely.
But the thing is, though, people don't see that. They just see the person who's there at the show thinking, oh, it's just Big Rich, you know. What's he going to do? They realised, truthfully, what went on. Well, you know. But at the end of the day,
you've been learning.
Like I say, I don't do it for the glory. I don't do it for the recognition. I just do it to help out.
True, but you're going to get some recognition.
Oh, sure. Yeah. But I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to end up being a complete and utter airhead.
But that's the thing, like we've already covered. You're not, because you're down to earth, you're humble. Yeah. You need to say more.
Yeah. All I can say is I try my best.
That you have.
And I've had the chance, like I said, thanks to keeping a level head, I've had the chance to work with some really great talent in this country.
Well, seeing as you just mentioned, you just mentioned that, is there any that you care to name?
The first one I want to mention, and straight off the bat, and I think he is literally one of the best, El Capitino himself, RC Chaos.
I know exactly why.
That man, right, I swear to God, right, like I say, when I first started, people didn't believe in me, right? Him and others, you know, this guy can make me laugh by, well, I'm going to say hashtag Bradford. That's all I'm going to say. Now, people in the know will know what it means. But, you know, Mr. Chaos himself, you know, El Capitino, the man is a legend in my eyes. I remember being a wrestling fan, sitting at a show, right, watching him wrestle, thinking, well, maybe one day I'll end up wrestling like him, right? Fast forward 5 years, I'm in the ring with him. And to me, well, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
like I say, I've been around some cracking wrestlers, but first off, I've got to name him. Second, and together as believe it or not, as a unit, but the both of them together is the Dosser King himself, right? And his lovely manager. Because
I know exactly who you're referring to. That would be none other than Charles Kelsey
and
Christopher Drew.
Yes, the man has a brain like you would not believe for this wrestling business, right?
Yeah.
I can only compare him to a Dusty Rhodes / Ric Flair, slash, I mean, I don't know what to say. Yeah,
Bobby
those
the
two
Brain.
Bobby the Brain, that's it.
Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yeah, those three. If those three were one person, right, it's Christopher Drew. Because I'll tell you something, I mean, his knowledge is the only person that comes close to him in knowledge-wise for wrestling is Stephen Keane. Now that's, I mean, he's the only person that can come close with wrestling knowledge.
And before even Mr. Irvine mentions, I will not take them on. I retire. On their knowledge. Believe me when I say this. You think I've got a lot of knowledge on wrestling?
Nah, never said that, mate. All I said to you was just that stop typing in fucking Google.
I'm not typing in on Google, but I believe that these guys are. How do I say this? You've called me at one point, and I remember this being like an ocean. They're almost like the entire damn body of water of the entire planet.
Yeah.
Wealth of knowledge.
Just not the contents of your own trousers.
Well, I think you've hit the nail on the head with that one.
Well, he tried, but he couldn't find it.
Oh. What have I told you about not eating your living carrot?
Oh, we already know that Irvine loves his carrots.
Oh,
I do love my carrots. I love my carrots.
That he loves.
I like carrots.
Yeah.
Giggity.
Or going back to other wrestlers though, female wrestler wise, right? I think, like we've mentioned before, Charlie Evans and Millie McKenzie.
Yeah.
Separate, right? They are some of the best women in this industry today, right? Together as a tag team, right? Wow, that's all I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And then I think future-wise, you've got to talk about Chantel Jordan as well.
Yeah.
That girl is going places. Right.
Definitely.
And, I challenge anybody to argue with me on that one. You know what I mean? And there are loads of other people that I've had the chance to be just at shows with. Like I say, Mr. Eddie Cobain, Mr. Jimmy Vice,
Yep.
Mr. Joe Black, you know what I mean? And members of
I'm pretty sure Christopher Drew could answer that one as well.
Yeah. And
or at least we not forget the kicks that he's experienced.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
But at least he's willing to take one. Not unlike a certain individual that's a bit of a pussy.
Oh, who are we talking about here?
Oh, you don't. I can't name names, but let's just put it this way: I didn't want to take an RKO. I'm a bit of a bitch.
I've only ever taken an RKO once.
He's not
And that
naming
was
names, but I know exactly who he's referring to. But
Yeah.
we'll leave it.
Oh no!
We'll leave it there.
He's a massive cunt.
Hang on. We're not talking about sausage tits here, are we?
No.
I don't know who sausage tits is, but yeah.
Definitely not.
Oh,
I've got to
God.
admit, who's got tits shaped like sausages?
We're not naming names.
No.
Oh, you'll have to fill me in later
Well,
with your sausage tits.
I'll leave that to Mr. Burns. He's
No. I believe
I
we've
love
already
this
covered who
going.
that is previously.
I hope you
Previous
covered the
interview.
sausage tits. I hope you covered the sausage tits as well.
Oh. Anyway.
Swing low, sweet chariots.
Kick him in the balls and let him go.
Sweet Jesus.
So, during this time, with wrestling being on hold and everything, and we've been having to find an alternative outlet.
Yeah.
What's been helping you get by recently?
Pornhub. Oh, sorry, you were asking. Sorry.
I wasn't asking for yours. I was asking for Big Rich's.
Cars are a hobby of mine. I like keeping busy with cars and all that. And like I say, I got a job during the week as well. So that was, unfortunately, I did get furloughed at the beginning. But then ever since I've been back, it's been like head down, keep going, keep my mind busy. And cars is has always been my one and true hobby. Well, cars, Lego have been the main thing.
Oh, come on, it's Lego.
It's Lego. It's Lego until you stand on it, and then it's yeah, fucking bastard.
That's it. I had on my coffee table at one time. The big Lego Millennium Falcon.
Holy shit! How many pieces?
Oh, I've forgotten now. It's something like 1,200. I don't know, 1,200 pieces or something. I don't know. I had the Lego Millennium Falcon sat on my coffee table until the one day my dog decided to jump up on the table and land on top of it.
No!
Oh no!
Do you remember the Phantom Menace?
Yeah.
Do you remember the red cruiser at the beginning of the film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where they landed on board the droid ship.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I had that as well. I built that. Like I said, the Millennium Falcon. I had the big Star Destroyer as well.
So if we get any Lego sets, we know where to take them.
Oh yes, well, and I used to spend hours designing and building my own creations, all based around Lego, Star Wars, and Star Trek. Star Trek has got to be if I don't even get me started on Star Trek. Oh my God, we'll be here for 2 days. I am that much of a Trekkie, Not to the point where I dress up looking like a Klingon or anything like that, but
or the language.
Well, we try to, but things that I'm that nerdy. I even know I've got blueprints of the starships upstairs. I've got every series on DVD.
Well,
I've got.
So okay, here we go. Who is your favourite, Kirk or Picard?
Picard.
How did I know that you were going to be such a Picard nerd?
Because back in the day when I was growing up, I wasn't allowed to watch much television, and my dad used to say to me, "Right, you can have one TV program, and that's it, that you can watch." And at the time, it was Star Trek: The Next Generation on Sky One. It used to go on at 5 o'clock. Well, 6 o'clock in Spain, right? And I would watch that. That was my thing. Star Trek: The Next Generation, and even like years later, when I used to feel like really like before I started wrestling, I did go through a patch where I was like I had a nervous breakdown and all that. And what brought me out of it was watching a lot of Star Trek: The Next Generation. It helped me in thinking, wow, don't let problem. It's like with wrestling. Don't let this injury slow you down from reaching your goal. Star Trek: The Next Generation showed me that don't let this thing get you down. You've got to pick yourself up. You've got to carry on. You've got to move forward. And like I said, I've watched it. Now since my first going back to like 1990. I think. I and stuff like that from when I was really young. And I remember not watching it for years. And then one day it came on the television. This is about 2-3 years before my dad died, and I put it on. And he had at his house. He had the television connected to a sound system that was wired to speakers outside in the garden. So the one day he's outside with his friends, drinking wine, laughing, joking, and I decided to connect the TV back to the sound system. And just as the intro started, I turned the volume up. So he is, laughing and joking with his friends, and all of a sudden, in the garden, and he's looking at me going, "You're not watching it." I went, "Star Trek, man." That's just one of those stories. But yeah, I have been a lifelong Star Trek fan.
Well, you have your Star Trek, and I obviously discussed one of my fond memories of my mum. Even though, yes, she is still with us, but it's a very fond memory of being beaten to death with a flip flop.
Flip flop.
Yeah, so there you go. At least you had a better fond memory than I did.
But yeah. It's
moving on.
It's always
moving
good.
on. Sweet Jesus. That's coming first contact. That is.
I see what you did there.
I know.
I see what you did there. Almost a bit of a Blue Harvest.
Yeah. There's a scene in Star Trek First Contact where they launch the ship, and because the travelled back in time, and basically the guy turns, he sees a shadow, turns, looks, and goes, "Sweet Jesus!" and it's the Enterprise.
Yep.
You could just imagine that being Herbert.
Sweet Jesus.
Sweet Jesus. Any chance you still get into anal probing?
Why do you sound like Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo off South Park?
Oh yeah, I can do that too.
Yeah, you can. He does that well.
Oh my God. Just instantly when he's talking in that voice, then I'm thinking, why is he sounding like Mr. Hanky? Sweet cherry pie. Oh no.
Oh, but anyway, it's one of them. It's like I was just about to say, what was your favourite, your favourite series of Star Trek? But I'm pretty sure you're probably going to say Next Generation.
Yes, it has to be Star Trek: The Next Generation. Then Star Trek Voyager.
Mm-hmm.
Then Deep Space Nine. Then the original. Yeah. Then the series, and then Enterprise.
Have you been watching the new Picard series?
No, I haven't. I've kept up with Discovery, but not the Picard series.
It's surprisingly very good.
The best part for me, and I've only seen the clip, I haven't seen the full episode, is the very last episode of Picard. He's at that planet. All is lost. They think all is lost. and then all of a sudden, all the Federation starships warp in, and then the Romulan commander goes, the flagship's hailing us, and boom, Riker is on the bridge of that ship.
Number one.
He's captain of like the incoming fleet. I was like, fangirl moment again. You know what I mean? It was like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Was it Philip J. Fry?
No.
Here, take my money.
It was William T. Riker. Yeah. And that just blew my mind to me. Just seeing the two things that blew my mind, or three actually. Mm-hmm. At the beginning, you saw the old Enterprise.
Yeah.
Data. And the fact that Riker was in it. Brilliant. To me, that's like, oh, God. And I say, in the second series, like, the characters of the second series, you should bring some more of the original cast back in, or various cast members from the different series in.
Yeah.
But I wish Q had come back. Because, I'll tell you why, and a certain Mr. Mad Dog Max will agree with me on this. He wants Q to come back to say to Picard, I want to apologise for everything that I've done to you over the years, blah, 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 etc., etc., and I want to give something back to you. He clicks his fingers, and all of a sudden, the Enterprise that was destroyed is back, and Data is alive again. That, to me, would be an oh shit moment. But that's just me.
I'm just going to say, you may need to watch Picard.
Oh, I've seen. I know that.
I'm just saying, you may need to watch all of it.
I've seen the Data is back, but only as a computer-generated program.
Still,
it needs Data back alive, but not only that, make him human.
I'll just say, I recommend you check out that series.
That's just another topic for another time. That is, because if we talk Star Trek all night, that's, I mean, I'm gonna be blooming hooked.
It's gonna be one of them.
Yeah.
3 hours later.
Well, I will say, checks made payable for that little story plot that Big Rich has just given. Checks made payable to Big Rich.
Yeah.
You can find him on Facebook. I'm assuming Instagram.
I don't do Instagram. I don't do Twitter. I mean, I can barely use YouTube and Facebook. That
That actually reminded me. Congratulations on being introduced to Skype.
Ah, yes. That's thanks to Mr. Burns.
Yes, he did say to me that the only way that we'd be able to do this is by helping you to set yourself up.
Oh, yes. He explained what to do, so I did it, and I was like, oh, this is new.
Oh, this is new. Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
Well, in my case, it'd be a triple cheeseburger from McDonald's, really.
Ooh, triple cheeseburger. Ooh, triple cheeseburger. Ooh, triple cheeseburger.
And then I was actually sat in the garden when I had the first call. I was like, ooh.
Exactly.
And Skype. I mean, now I'm on Skype, so yeah, it's all good.
I know what you mean. And it's just really interesting, and it just goes hand in hand.
I don't do well with technology.
No one is.
He did warn me. He did warn me that you weren't very good with technology. He said that you were more so into cars and stuff. So that was easy.
Yeah.
Oh, believe me when I say this. If I need advice on some good cars and everything, or some need some advice or some great knowledge on certain vehicles or anything, I know who I'm speaking to.
Well, I actually have one here for you, Big Rich. Is that my dad purchased a classic car?
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was the end of last year or beginning of this year.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a very, very old classic car. It's an Oxford.
Morris Oxford.
In Morris Oxford, but not with the engine in that you think.
Ooh.
What engine's it got?
You know how they normally come with 1.6?
Oh, I'm not that clued up with old Morrises, to be honest.
Go on.
Well, I think they come with something like a 1.6, but he's
Yeah.
had a 1.8 put in it from. I can't remember exactly what car it is that he's had it out of, but basically it's a straight swap.
Yeah, something like
And
or something like that.
yeah, it's fast.
Ouch.
It's fast, and yeah, that's his little project, but it's really nice looking car.
Yeah. I used to have a big thing about old Ford Mondeos.
Oh yes.
Oh yes,
Mondeos, Sierras.
My mum's had the Sierra. She's had the Mark II Fiesta, loads of different others, like Mark I and Mark II Escorts and stuff like that.
Yep.
But I mean, for some bizarre reason, got really hooked on old Mondeos. I bought one once, thinking, I was only going to keep it for like 6 months and bin it. Well, fast forward like 7 years, I'd still got the same car.
That's the thing about if you get hold of a good Ford, an old Ford, you end up keeping it for a long time.
Well, sadly, it's no longer with us because Kyle's seen it. It was this big. I had a big V6. It was 2.5 litres. It was great.
Your cousin?
Yeah. Mr. Burns has seen it also.
Of course.
His cousin loved the bloody car, but
Yeah, I know, because he kept saying, can we buy it? It's like, no.
Well,
did he try and slide the gear stick up his bottom like he did last time?
Well,
last time, no.
He'd have a bit of a tough time because it was an automatic, so it was a wider handle.
Well, from what I've heard about Matt Burns' cousin, is that he has got a very wide bottom hole.
Well, if that's the case, then it's thanks to that blooming gear stick on my old Mondeo. In the end, I love this car. People have seen me in it. I used to use it daily, and then I'd clean it up, use it at shows. And in the end, I just got that. Well, to cut a long story short, I lost a load of hours at work, and I just lost interest. So I had it destroyed.
Oh, boo!
A friend of mine took it to a scrapyard, and they dropped a crane boom straight down the middle of it, and basically folded it up like a blooming accordion.
But like a pretzel.
Mm-hmm. But it wasn't the only Mondeo I had. So outside still, I do currently own a Mark I Mondeo, the original shape one, which at the moment is about 27 years old.
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's sitting there waiting for me to get the old bug for Mondeos back again.
Favourite, okay then, fantasy car. What's your fantasy car?
I've actually owned one of them, believe it or not. My favourite would be a Range Rover Classic.
Oh, interesting. Mind you, it would kind of suit you, to be fair. Big Rich,
I actually owned one. I had I had a 3.9 V8 EFI Range Rover. My God, I love this thing. And shall I tell you something? It was bought for me by my grandfather. And cut a long story short, he was on his deathbed. It was not long before he died. And he said to my nan at the time, buy him something, whatever he wants. And I jokingly said, oh, I'd love a Range Rover Classic. And he said to my nan, buy it for him. And a week before he died, we found one, not far from where I live, bought it, But because my granddad couldn't get out of bed, he couldn't see it. So I decided to run over my nan's favourite tree outside the house and put the car straight outside the bay window. So I don't think my nan was too happy about the tree. But my granddad actually got to see the word Range Rover across the front of the bonnet. So there you go, Granddad. I've got it.
Did he look at you and just go, my fucking tree?
I don't think he liked the tree in the first place. My nan, it was my nan's favourite.
Oh, wow. So you give him a double present.
Yeah. And then sadly, a week later, he passed away.
Oh, God, that's a shame. But at least you gave him something
to laugh about.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I bet he
definitely.
said have a laugh.
I actually took the car to my mum drove the car for me to his funeral. And but after that, it was like my granddad had passed away. One day we were going through a place called Kidderminster, and the exhaust fell off. And then after that, the car just, and I don't know, cars to me have always, if you pick the right one, it's always got a soul. You know what I mean? And I know people are going to think, Big Richie's crazy, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
No, I'd actually agree with you on that one.
Certain cars do have a soul. And to me, when my granddad passed away, the Range Rover died.
Yeah.
In the end, it got towed away for scrap. And that was it. And I've never had another one since. Although I'd love another one. To me, if I have another one, it would be in honour of my grandfather.
No.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Not only that, I mean, I owned a Range Rover, and when I was younger, my dad had a Range Rover as well. So I actually, funnily enough, and I do like to rub this in sometimes, the Range Rover I had was more powerful than the one my dad had. So I used to like stick two fingers up at him and go, my mine's better than yours.
Mine's that powerful it can tear trees up.
Started on that because when I was younger, my dad used to actually pull out tree stumps for people with his Range Rover. Yeah.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
Good way of doing it. Good way of doing it. So, well, thank you very much. What we're going to have to just do now is pretty much just say, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, anybody I want to give a shout out to? Well, first off, I'm going to give a big shout out to FCW.
Of course.
Because, like I said, with everything that's gone on at the moment, I know times have been tough.
Yeah.
But as soon as we're able to, we're going to be back. We're going to be doing shows. We're gonna hit the ground running, and we're going to make people see that British wrestling is back in a big way.
Yeah.
I also want to give a shout out to all the people that have believed in me, you know what I mean, and helped me get to where I am today. Because like I say, without them, without the interactions I've had with all the different companies like FCW, UKWA, Academy, and United Wrestling and all that.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for all those interactions and speaking to other different promotions as well, I wouldn't be where I am today.
No,
that's my two big shout out. And I also want to say one thing as well, and this goes. I bet the person I'm going to talk about now, but I've got to talk about him because if I don't, it wouldn't be right. I want to talk about Biohazard.
Yeah.
AKA Mr. Anthony Valve.
Yeah.
There's a man. Now, the love he had for this business was second to none. He was, even in his darkest hour, I mean, he was there. He was always giving advice. He was always helping, even though he didn't feel too well. And God rest his soul, wherever he is.
Yeah.
as ill as he was always giving advice, always reassuring people, always making sure that they were okay. Even though he didn't feel okay himself, he was always making time for people. And the one thing above all else that I really, I'm getting teary-eyed about it now, but the one thing I always get upset about is that he never got to see where I got to. You know, I always wanted it, and I always wanted him to see, like, and I know there are other wrestlers that loved him as much as I do, and love him to this day, and they'll understand what I'm saying. I just wish he'd have. I just wish he'd still been here to see where we've all got, because I'm sure that a lot of wrestlers are still here in this business today because of him. You know, and I'll always remember him. He'll always be part of me, and wherever he is, right? Like I always say, every
know,
year,
mate.
every year when it comes around to the anniversary of his death, wherever he is, like I always say, I hope he's still up there somewhere, riding that lightning bolt into, a heaven wrestling match, right, and still kicking ass and taking names. And I miss him so much. And God rest his soul.
Yeah.
That's that one.
Yeah, no, it's 100%. So I can agree with you. Definitely on that. One thing there's so many people who have had kind words in regards to him, and such an amazing human being, and did more for the wrestling business than most ever could, even during the times when he shouldn't have been, when he was unwell. But
yeah,
he was always there, always.
He always wanted to contribute in some way, like you just said. Even though he was unwell, even though he probably shouldn't have been at certain wrestling shows, the man always wanted to give back.
Yeah.
And if there was ever an example in wrestling on how to be, right, he's one of the ones to follow.
Yeah.
His example of his work ethic, his mindset, his passion, that he's one of the people to take after. And like I say, he, to me, he's even though he's gone, he's up there with, like, the Dosser King himself. RC Chaos, Millie McKenzie, Chantel Jordan, all these other people. He's up there with the very best, and he always will be. And I don't care how many years go by. I don't care if people forget him or whatever. I will always remember him, and I will always put him up there with the very best. End of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets me emotional. I'm trying to hold back the tears now talking about him, but if I start crying, it'll be like the blooming tsunami all over again.
Yeah, I get what you mean. But so what we'll do is we'll now move on. So how can people get in touch with Big Rich?
Well, like I said, I don't do Instagram. I don't do Twitter. Too much shit's been going on over that. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? It's like teenagers fighting in a blooming sandbox.
It's true. It is true.
I mean,
did not see that. Did not see that coming from out of nowhere.
A lot of things happened over those platforms.
Yeah,
and I just don't want to be a part of it.
It's understandable.
I just want to. If anybody wants to reach me, they can get me on my Big Rich Wrestling page on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's about it, really. I mean, like I said, I don't do the Instagram or the blooming Twitter, although probably people I should do, but I'm quite happy with the way things are at the moment.
Who knows? Who knows? One thing I will say is, I know at the moment you haven't got any merch at the moment yet.
Well.
To what I know of, but
I have been. I say I. A friend of mine at work gave me the tagline of calling me the Big Boss. So I might have put a picture up. I'm not sure if you've seen it. But there is a new T-shirt coming, right?
Ooh.
The one side does say the Big Boss.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm going to put I want to give a quick shout out to Mr. DJ Pigeon. You know what I mean? Because that's my friend's DJ name. Yeah. Pigeon on a death wish. There we go. And it was his idea.
Yeah.
So the one side of the shirt, which is the back, will say the Big Boss.
Yeah.
But I'll leave the front for another time, and I'll make that announcement when wrestling returns.
So when his announcement comes and it's on display, I will give you a little shout out to buy his fucking merch.
Buy his merch, yes.
Buy his fucking merch.
It
makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, going back to when I started wrestling, I started on like merchandise, and I've seen like shirts like fly off the movie table, but I've never had. I mean, Mr. Burns will tell you this. I've never had T-shirts or anything like that. I think I made one T-shirt, a red one, when I first started. You might have seen pictures of it. That was the original wrestling T-shirt, right? Actually, no, it's not. The original wrestling T-shirt was the Black Country flag on the front, big R on the back of it, and I actually gave that to my cousin's kids because they came to my debut singles match.
Yeah.
And as the show was going on, I stopped at the front of the ring. I called them over and I gave them the shirt. The second one was the red one.
Yeah.
And because at the time I wasn't wrestling as much, to being a face, I gave it away, and that now resides with the fan.
You stole my merch.
Yeah. But
no, he gave it away.
Yeah, I gave it away. Like I said, I gave it to her. She was, so excited when I gave it to her because she collects wrestling T-shirts.
Oh, definitely.
So I gave it to her, and she loves it. And then years later, I've actually had another one made, tweaked it slightly. It's a copy of the original, and that one, there's only one of those. But eventually, what I want to do is collect a load of signatures over it of all the different wrestlers, and then I want to auction it off, and then donate the money to charity.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I know my nan was never a fan of me wrestling, or that, she never wanted me to wrestle. And when I used to get injured, she'd spend time like sat next to me crying, saying, "Richard, is this really worth it?" Blah blah blah. And I'd say, "No, I love it. It's me." So when the shirt's sold and everything, I want to make a donation to charity in her name, because because my nan passed away of dementia and all that, she didn't really, towards the end, didn't really understand what was going on. But before that, even though she didn't like me wrestling, she supported my decision.
Yeah.
As you do.
Yeah. I mean, if my great nan had been alive, My great nan loved World of Sport. She'd
Oh
sit,
God.
she'd watch Giant Haystacks, Big Daddy, Kendo Nagasaki, Mick McManus, and all them. She'd watch them. My great nan was a fan through and through. But my nan never really, liked it. And like I said, if my granddad had still been alive, he'd have loved it. He'd been the first one there, sat at the front watching me, from ringside.
And if you were heel, he'd probably beat you with his walking stick.
Probably, yes.
Probably.
Yeah. My granddad was one of these people that was stern but fair. And it was one of those situations where he'd say, "I'm not angry with you, I'm disappointed."
Oh God,
And
that sucks more than being angry.
Especially coming from him or somebody you hold in that high regard. When they turn around and say, or say, they're not angry with you, they're just disappointed. It's
right in the feels.
Right out of you. I've had it with with certain wrestling friends as well. Like, you know what I mean? Where in the past I've made mistakes, and they'll be like, "We're not angry, we're just disappointed." And it's one of those things where, your emotions just go. You really get.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, like I say, collect all the signatures I can of different wrestlers in whichever promotion I go to, and I'm going to auction it off, and both. I think both in my nan and granddad's name. Don't make a donation to charity.
That's
that'd
nice.
be a good idea.
Yeah.
But
So
I have another T-shirt for you.
Oh, go on then.
Big Rich, Big Heart.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I wanted a shirt on the back that said "Caution Wide Load."
Yeah, well, I can't really go down that road because that's not fair.
Hang on. It's the thing though. I wanted, like on the back of those lorries that say "Caution Wide Load." I also wanted the belt with the two beacon lights on it. So if I walk backwards, it'd go beep, beep.
Oh my God!
If it's the one thing, you'll get to know about me is right. My size, right, doesn't mean fuck all. Now, when I was younger, it did.
Mm-hmm.
But now I couldn't give two flying shits, right? Yes, I understand. Like I said this on social media, I think today even. Yes, I understand there are health issues with being as big as I am, right?
Yes.
But I'm happy with the way I look. I'm happy with my shape, my size. I'm not going to, at one time I used to think, you'd seen like a magazine, you've got to have a chiseled six-pack and look like a supermodel. No. Right. If I wanted, who the hell wants to go out and snuggle a twig? You know what I mean? I want to get my hands on the fucking barrel. You know what I mean? I've tried the weight loss thing, and yes, I have lost a lot of weight. But there again, I was never happy. It didn't feel right. I'm not. I'd go from being big rich to just being rich.
Yeah.
That's not me. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
My family and friends will tell you, I am big, I am fat, I am beautiful. If you don't like it, well, there's a certain cliff with their name on it. Go and take a jump off the end.
Oh, there's another T-shirt idea.
Yeah.
Big, beautiful, rich. BBR.
BBR.
Big, beautiful, rich.
Yeah.
Oh.
There was an idea. Cut a long story short. I used to be the enforcer for certain wrestlers at FCW.
I know it's coming.
What, the bra?
Yeah.
Right. It was called Big Rich Agency. Hashtag bra. Cause, and, bless him, I think it was Mr. RC Chaos that come up with it. It might have been somebody else, I'm not sure.
No, I think that was Chaos, especially with all of his gimmicks.
Yeah.
Gimmicks.
Hashtag King of Gimmicks. Right? Comes on, bra, Big Rich Agency. Now, can you just imagine having that shirt in the NWO style, saying BRA on the front of your shirt? If I'd actually had it made and somebody screamed to the back of the room, I see you got your bra on, Rich. And where I dropped the straps to do the choke slam.
Oh.
Like, where's your bra, Rich?
Which I'm pretty sure you could probably turn around and go, I am the bra.
Well, I was going to say, it'd be a pretty big bra. But you know what I mean? I don't, as much as, people can rip the piss out of me, for being big, they still do. People, the one thing people forget is sometimes you can be sitting there, you hear the comments, you hear the the negativity. I personally couldn't give a flying fuck, right? My size, right, it doesn't hurt anybody else, yeah? It's only me, right?
Yeah.
And the one thing this lockdown has shown me, right, is yes, I could be healthier. I could be a hell of a lot healthier. I could do more exercise, I could eat better, drink better. But the problem is, would I be enjoying life? No, I wouldn't. I'd be somebody I'm not. And I don't want to be that. I'd rather enjoy my life, right? Be happy with my friends, be happy with people, right? And like whenever the end comes, it comes. Then just not be who I am. And it's like I say, like I say, people say, I've put on a bit of weight. I look at them and I go, I've had bigger shits than you.
Some mostly in the ocean.
True. But the thing is, though, that's where the saying comes from. Motion in the ocean.
I like it.
It's one of them. It's like, my size doesn't, I guess, and I know my loved ones get concerned, but they know, especially I hope they know that I am happy the way I am. Now, it's taken me a long time and many years of ups and downs, right? I mean, I've been, at one time I used to be scared to go out. It's going back many years ago. Scared to go out, scared to do any sport whatsoever. The only thing I used to be good at when I was younger was swimming, believe it or not. And then, obviously, thanks to my friend Captain Cutlass, I got into wrestling. And now I thought, people would be like, oh, God, he's big, here we go. I got it completely wrong. The majority of the people were so accepting of who I am, not for the way I look, but for actually who I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's I could go on about this for like myself. I could go on about this for hours. But my mum, for years, has always said it best to me: you never judge a book by its cover. If you do that, you're nothing but a piece of shit and a scumbag, right? The person is who's on the inside. You don't need to look like a supermodel. You don't need to look like, you're built like, I don't know, you could lift 10,000 cars on top of your head.
Yeah.
Right? Just be you.
Yeah.
If you're not happy, I understand. Make changes. I understand if you want to be healthy, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't let what other people say what's shown in magazines and everything determine the rest of your life. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. Wrestling helped me a lot. Like with me, like wrestling, I mean, I went from a couch potato to wrestling, right? And wrestling completely changed my life, right? Yes, I'm still big, but it's one of those things where it just opened my eyes to like new possibilities. You know, I didn't to the way people treat other people. Now I understand there's been a lot of controversy with wrestling recently, which is a dark time, and you know the business has suffered. But the way I look at it is, no matter how low you get, right, there's always that journey back up. And it's that journey back up, right, that is what I'm waiting for. Professional wrestling, it's not a sport, it's an art. It's a family. It's, to me, acceptance. You know what I mean? It's
I get you.
You know what I mean? It's a sense of belonging, being part of something. And I believe with the comeback that's coming, right, we as a profession, i.e. British wrestling, are going to show the world what we are about. We're going to bounce back. Yes, there may be bumps in the road, you know.
As
there
they
might
are.
be, which certain situations that are going on, you know. But we can overcome all that, you know.
Yeah.
Eventually. It may take some time, but that journey back up, it may take one step at a time, but those steps, each step is going to be something bigger and better than ever before. And I promise you now, and I'll say this to all the listeners in whatever part of the world, right? Wrestling is on the up and up. And whether it be British wrestling, German wrestling, Australian wrestling, American wrestling, wrestling in all its forms, right? We are on the up and up. We've hit rock bottom. We've gone through it. We've gone, you know, we've scratched the bottom of the blooming barrel. Now it's time to put aside differences, put aside, you know, petty squabbles and, I don't like this person doesn't like that person. We need to now rebuild the sport, rebuild the industry, right? And show people, right, just what professional wrestling is all about.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, definitely. And you know what? That's I'm gonna say is a great time for us to probably wrap this up now because end on a high, on a happy mental health message and a good message towards wrestling as a whole.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Definitely. So, with that being said, genuinely, thank you very much for being on the TBT interviews, Big Rich.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been great.
It's been absolutely been a pleasure, genuinely, and it's always good to hear from you. And
thank you very much. Thank you very much.
It is. It's always good to hear from you. And with that now being said, I'm gonna have to say thank you to the listeners who've listened into this episode. Genuinely, we've always appreciated it. Be it either any this episode, any of the past episodes, or even any of our broadcasts, we've always appreciated it. So with that, hopefully we'll catch you at the next TBT interview, which is usually on what day is it? Usually always out?
Wednesdays. Why Wednesdays?
Why not? Of course.
Sounds like my My day to go to McDonald's. That does.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, the thing is that, right, Wednesdays, your interview goes out, right? Wednesdays, right? I challenge anybody. This is to anybody, right, who can out-eat me at a Chinese buffet or a McDonald's drive-through. The challenge is set. One day, we shall do it, right? I put the challenge out there to anybody. They can beat me at a Chinese buffet or a McDonald's drive-through, right? I will pay for the meal.
Damn.
But if I beat them, they have to do the same.
It's only fair.
It's only fair.
It's only fair.
Challenge.
But anyway, we're gonna. I'm gonna have to just say right now, in regards to this, is thank you very much for listening out. Hopefully you catch this this episode, any of the past episodes and future episodes of TBT Interviews. We of course also recommend you to check out the Burning Truth broadcast that we normally do every Sunday with myself and my co-host, none other than James Irvine.
It's Irvine.
Of course, where we're usually talking all things wrestling and plenty of nonsense.
Knowing Matt Burns bollocks.
Or translation, like I said.
I wonder why it was called The Burning Truth. That's on Great Balls of Fire and all that.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Burns,
we learn a bit,
Burns.
Burns.
Matt Burns' Ring of Fire.
Hang on. That's Matt Burns. That's Matt Burns after Vindaloo. The Ring of Fire.
Anyway, with all that, it has been emotional. Thank you very much, genuinely. So, I've been Matt Burns.
I have been Mr. Irvine.
Oh.
Our guest has been none other than
Big Rich.
It has.
It has. He has.
I was going to say it has been.
I am heartbroken, Mr. Burns.
It has been a pleasure with the man. You know what? Forget it. I'm just going to use this one now. For now, he is Big Rich, the man, the myth, the legend. Big Rich.
Well, thank you very much. I'm gonna have to stick your testicles in ice now for that.
What?
Oh, thank you very much for having me, guys.
You're welcome anytime. Genuinely, it's been a pleasure. But for now, it has been emotional. As we say, thank you very much for listening, and we'll hopefully catch you at either the next interview, the next broadcast, wherever you find us. Hopefully, you are liking, subscribing, and probably even providing some comments. Until then, catch you later.
Bye-bye.